Let's talk about Russia, Ukraine. I talked about this a little bit in the pre-show. I'm just so outraged at the world for two things related to Russia, Ukraine. First of all, the media and politicians not talking about it enough. This is a big deal for the world. What kind of world are we going to have if Vladimir Putin can do this? And then if he gets a deal, be welcomed back in the community of nations? This is the center of Europe. This is the United States ally. United States allies and NATO care about it. And the second thing I'm mad about is they're letting this happen. There's something wrong with the planet that this is happening. So let me show you a few things that have happened today, and then we're going to talk about it. First of all, the head of NATO, I've become a fan of Mr. Mark Rutte. Is that how you pronounce his name? Rutte, right? I've become a fan of his. He's in Kyiv today. He tweeted about it, 106. And he's there on a day after Putin having promised the president, at least the president said he did, not to bomb during this cold snap, or as David Letterman would say, is it a cold snap or a cold spell? Whatever it is, it's cold. He's there, and here he is walking with Zelensky at a memorial service, 103, please. Here's the AP headline, 102, about the attack. This is another horrible attack on energy facilities. 450 drones, 70 missiles, the day before the peace talks are supposed to start. This is not the first time Putin has done this immediately before. Now, we're going to play for you a long soundbite from the head of NATO speaking to the Ukrainian parliament in a moment. Both the head of NATO, Mr. Rutte, and Mr. Zelensky, President Zelensky, both denounced the attack and said it shows once again that Putin is not serious about peace. Listen to these stirring remarks. This should be the lead everywhere, not Donald Trump fantasizing about taking over elections, not the body cams. These are important things. But this soundbite should have been the lead on every morning show.
With the deepest respect that I stand before you today to affirm once again that NATO stands with Ukraine. This was true before Russia's full-scale invasion. This was true on the 24th of February 2022, and it has been true every single day since. Putin has long thought he could wait us out, that Ukraine was weak, that your supporters would grow weary, that our will would falter. He was gravely mistaken. Ukraine is strong and our support is unwavering. I do recognize that a focus on other global events might have caused concern. Concern that our attention might be divided at a moment that you needed our support more acutely than ever. As the temperatures plummeted, attacks on your energy infrastructure intensified, and the talks to bring this terrible war to a lasting end continued. But I want to assure you that our attention has not been diverted. Ukraine is and will remain essential to our security.
Okay, Putin's bombing them after he said he wouldn't. Putin and his spokespeople are continuing to say, oh, there can be no security guarantees of any legitimacy, of any meaning for the Ukrainians from NATO. Putin and his allies spokesmen continue to say they want more land. I now am not consumed with the question of whether there's going to be a deal. I'm consumed with, why would anyone make a deal with Putin? Why would anyone make a deal with Putin? He's not going to adhere to it. And when you make a deal, he's going to insist on being back in the community of nations. This whole thing has been handled poorly, but I just don't see how there can be a deal now, and there should be a deal. Kevin, thoughts?
Yeah, Mark, you're absolutely right. And again, every play that Putin has made has to buy more time, right? To refuel and re-energize his conscripted troops. The point you made too about Putin wanting more land that he hasn't even taken as part of this offensive from Russia into Ukraine. I think Mark Rutte, the NATO General Secretary, is doing the yeoman's work and is perfectly positioned. You saw him in Davos playing that really well with President Trump. And I think Mark Rutte is the one to actually deliver to bring more to bear from President Trump. They've got a soft spot for one another, and he's been able to, as the best NATO General Secretary that we've seen. Anders Ross was the previous one during the first Trump administration. Mark Rutte has been the best one to navigate this situation with Trump and get more pressure from Washington. You also have that sanctions bill that I hope everyone will continue not to forget. And maybe once we reopen that government, that's that effort from Lindsey Graham and others, that will also come into play. And President Trump will put his full force behind that effort, because you're absolutely right, Mark, in terms of what's happening. And, I've got the 4 screen on, nothing about this on any of the networks that we've seen. And again, those peace talks kick off again in Abu Dhabi this week. Nothing about that. Nothing about Wickoff. Everything else is about other coverage, and this should be in the forefront.
Eric, the Wall Street Journal editorial page would like the president to spend billions more on trying to prop up Ukraine. It's not going to happen, and the American people don't want that. What should the president's policy be, Eric, now?
Well, to his credit with the India deal, they're going to cut off their oil with Russia. Yep. The president's kept oil very low intentionally to hurt the Russians. But there is more the president can do, and this is part of his legacy. He wants to best Joe Biden. Joe Biden couldn't get peace for Ukraine. The presidents internally, I think they're really divided between the Vance wing and the Rubio wing as to how to proceed. You've got a lot of the Vance wing, very prominent in the Defense Department, that wants to kind of wash their hands of Europe and do this tripartite world between China, Russia, and the United States. If the U.S. is going to lead the free world, it's time for the president to lead here. He can structure this very well so that we're not out of pocket, do what he's already doing, sell weapons to the NATO partners, let them send it to Ukraine, use a loan program that the Biden administration had started and then stopped so that we're going to be reimbursed for the weapons, allow the Ukrainians to engage more. There are plenty of things the president can do, but the first thing he's got to do is stop pretending that Vladimir Putin is some sort of honest broker. He's not. He's outlasted every president.
Did I miss on your list the sanctions bill? Are you for that?
The sanctions bill is something else that, Lindsey Graham and them, they want to push it. Get it done.
Yeah.
Well, again, Mark, we've talked about this too. Nothing pisses off this president more than when he sees these drone attacks, especially if they're hitting, hospitals and power centers, and he's seeing, innocent human life taken on the streets of Kyiv and other places.
I have been at the back of the line in saying there's something nefarious about the president's connection to Putin. I just don't see proof of it. But there's something weird about it.
Yeah.
Because the sanctions bill should have passed 2 months ago. All right, we'll talk more about this all week. I'm just so horrified at the world's inability to deal with this.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and Two-Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.